We are live. It is officially 3 o'clock Eastern Time. My name is Jared Fuller, aka the Jared. Today's date is Sunday, July 31st, 2022. It is the last Sunday in the month of July and the last Sunday video update for the month of July. Hope you're all doing well. Dad and Amy are not here currently. I'll get to that in a moment, but there are a lot of things to go over. I've had a very busy week with another busy week in store. And so, first of all, before I get to what's to come, I'm going to talk about what happened last week. And if we do have internet interruptions, if the show just abruptly ends without warning, it's probably because my internet just to, take a shit. And if that does happen, then I'll just call it a day and be done with the show. Uh, but anyway, excuse me. Lots to go over from last week. Last week was it was a busy week. It was an awesome week, and it was a busy week. So on Monday, my dad got a truck. It's a Chevy Silverado from my grandpa Fuller, who passed away back in May. My dad inherited the truck that my grandpa had because my dad needed a dependable vehicle, and so now he's got his own vehicle, and it's all plated and insured now. Everything's been transferred. So now my dad's got a truck, and then after that we went out to Billy's and did the Monday flashback with my buddy Dan Richards, who is going to be going live tonight on WKCQ at 7 o'clock. He does every Sunday night, and so now Dad's got a vehicle. It was a week of appointments. I had to take Amy to Health Park in Owasso, and on the way there, I noticed a lemonade stand on M52, and it was a young boy with his, two younger sisters and his mom. And I told Dad, I said, well, on the way back from Owasso, we're hitting that lemonade stand because Dad and I, anytime we see a lemonade stand, we're suckers for charity and we're just going to stop and show our support if we've got, a few extra bucks. So actually, what I did was I dropped Amy off. And I told Dad, I said, I want to go check out that lemonade stand. She's going to be in there for a while. Let's go check it out. It wasn't far away. So I went back. I met the little boy and his two younger sisters. I donated some money, got some fist bumps thrown in. His mom and I are currently friends on Facebook now because I told her I would support her in everything she does. So, or everything her son does. And so now we've built a friendship, and we're kind of feeling each other out, and I think it's going to work out great. She's a sweet lady. Her kids are awesome, and her son in particular is just a wonderful kid. So I made a new friend. Now on Thursday, I uploaded a video of Miracle Treat Day at the Dairy Queen locations in Flint. And of course, it goes to benefit the local Children's Miracle Network hospitals in the area. And so I was in Flint on Thursday. I got to see some faces, not as many as I was hoping I would have seen, because I know a lot of people from, the local hospital. I'm friends with a lot of the families, and many of them were not there. So, but I did get a hug from a little boy and his younger brother. The older brother, hugged me around the waist, and I had to bend forward and hug him back because I'm so tall. And his younger brother had just hugged me around my legs, and I kind of pat him on the back. I said, "That's nice, thank you," and it was a good time. I donated some money to the local children's hospital, and it was a great time. And on Friday, I spent majority of the afternoon with a friend who also writes poetry and keeps a journal, and we mesh well together. We've known each other since I was a teenager, and so I went to their place and hung out for most of the day, and we made some arrangements, some plans to meet up again and have lunch and maybe write some poetry or write in our journals and just kind of chill and relax a little bit, and just to be ourselves for in the moment. Uh, But it's been a very busy week. And this week coming up is going to be busy as well. Tomorrow I have to go pay bills for the month of August. I might be going out to Billy's tomorrow night. So if you are local to Chesaning or Clio or even Montrose or, in the area, and if you're watching this, I'll be out at Billy's tomorrow night for the Monday flashback. And Dan Richards will be taking requests for country music. And I'm going to probably be sitting with my dad and my friend Kenny and Terry. And it should be a great time. It's always a great time out at Billy's. I have a lot of fun. I really and truly enjoy myself out there. It is just a go-to place to get away from the stresses and strains of life. And I forget about things for a while. It's nice. And then later this week, I will be attending another charity event, a charity benefit for a young man who is battling leukemia. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about that because I don't need anybody being harassed by people who are watching this, because they're always watching me and monitoring to see if I'm going to slip up and give names or, just tell where I'm going to be. But if I'm already there, it's too late. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about that. But yes, it is a charity benefit for a young man who is battling leukemia. He's local. And so that's going to be on Friday. And I'm looking forward to it. I hope I get to meet him and his family because I do keep in contact with his mom via text message, and should be a great time. I hope I'll get to meet them finally, and not just communicate through text message and all that stuff. So fingers crossed that I'll get to meet this warrior who's fighting off leukemia. And I found out today that a warrior sister had taken her last chemo today. So round of applause. Any child who, or young person who takes their last chemo definitely deserves a round of applause. So congratulations. And today is also another good friend of mine's birthday. He has a condition called, I think it's pronounced Behçet's disease. And I hope I'm not mispronouncing that. It's Behcet''S, Behçet's disease or Behçet's disease. I hope I'm not mispronouncing that. And if you are watching and if you are someone who has that condition, I do apologize. It's not intentional. But today is his birthday, another good buddy of mine. So happy birthday to you. And as you noticed, I'm not interested in giving any names because, like I said, people who watch my videos, they like to get shit started because they have no life, and then they want to run back and create commotion and fill people's heads with a bunch of crap, and I'm just not going to take that risk anymore. So, but what I am going to say, overall, generally speaking, is that I've been really super busy, and I have more plans this week. As a matter of fact, when I'm done with this, shortly thereafter, I will be doing a video chat with some friends of mine from the pediatric oncology world. We haven't spoken in quite some time, and I'm looking forward to that. And I also found a website because I'd recently gotten interested in finding online templates for like family trees and stuff. And I found one that I'm really comfortable with, one that I really like. And what I like about it is that I can create a free account. I can go back and edit information, and I can add pictures, and I can do, I can add all kinds of different stuff and edit and make changes, when necessary. And I'm really excited about getting this started. It's called Family Echo. That's the name of the website. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to getting started. There's a lot of information, and I'm going to have to really just, get busy on the keyboard and enter all this information in because I would like to have an accounting of my family, my relatives, and what I like about Family Echo is You can enter in the birthdays and the days that they died, the death date, the birth date. And something else I like about it is not only does it distinguish between boy and girl by color coding, that's blue for boy, pink for girl, but it also tells you how they're related to you and proximity of each individual. So in other words, when I add Herbert Fuller, my grandpa, it'll say grandfather. Relation to you as your grandfather. Wayne Fuller, my dad. Ramon Sperry, my mother. It'll tell you how they're related to you, or if they're a cousin, half brother, half sister, great grandfather, great nephew. It'll give you the specifics of how each individual is related. And like I said, I'm really super excited about this because there's so much information. And I'm hoping that the Family Echo site doesn't get overwhelmed with all the information that I'm going to add. But I'm really and truly just looking forward to getting started. I'm excited about it because there's so much about my family that I've learned. There's a lot of relatives that I actually have not met, and I would like to add in as much information as I can to the family tree as possible. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take weeks, days, probably months, maybe even years, perhaps. But and I laugh kind of nervously because it's like, well, I just hope I'll have the time to do all this, to complete all this information. But I am really looking forward to getting started on that because it's going to be nice to have a place I can go where you know, I can just go back and edit information, add pictures. I can do all. Oh, excuse me. I can add information, add pictures. It's going to be really fun, really exciting. So yeah, I'll probably get started on an account as soon as I'm done with this. And like I said, I've got a video chat coming up after the show today. Dad and Amy might be walking in because I had to go out to Layton Corners to get some brake pads for the truck that my dad got. It's a nice Chevy Silverado. It's a white truck. It's got the crew cab. It's a really nice truck. I think it's two-wheel drive, but he had to go get the brake pads out at Bauman Brothers, and Amy decided to go with him. That's why they're not joining me this week for the Sunday video update. But if they do make it back, that'll be fine. They're always welcome. It's their show too. And as a reminder, the chat log is open. If you would like to pop in and say hello, have a conversation, but you will be civil. You will keep a civil tongue in my chat log. And if I have any issues with you, I'm going to toss you out on your sorry ass. And that'll be something else to be excited about. So if you come in, just behave yourself, be on your best behavior. Don't be a troll. And, we can talk because I got to be honest with you, being by myself doing the Sunday video updates, it kind of does get a little tricky because I run out of things to talk about, and it can be dangerous, especially when I usually go for, at least one solid hour. And I have been known, excuse me, I have been known to go over the hour. But I like to stay roughly at about an hour because I think I have enough time within an hour to get everything out. So that's why I decided to go for an hour. And we did have a friend of ours who worked at Hoarders Farm and Automotive had passed away. His name was Darren, and he had, I think he had cancer. And he passed away yesterday, I think it was, at the age of 50. I want to say 56 or 57. He was a young guy. I think he was 57. He was always a nice guy. And every time I go into Hoarders, like I'd have to get a brake light or a tail light, I'd have to get something replaced, or I might, even have to get a fuse for something, or like a centrifugal belt or something like that, a serpentine belt. He was always there, and he would help us with our needs, and he was always friendly, and he would tell us some things that, to keep in mind when we're working on our vehicles. He was a really nice guy. He passed away it's a shame. My love and condolences go out to Darren's family, to the entire Horger family, and to his coworkers at Horger's Farm and Automotive. He was a really nice guy. Local to Chesaning, everybody knew him. He was a friendly guy, and he will be sorely missed. Absolutely missed. There was another death. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. It was a baseball player, I think it was. Let me see if I can find that. And if you hear a little noise on the mic, a fan blowing in the back, because it is kind of warm with the overhead light on. Let's see. Bill Russell. Okay, so it wasn't football. He was a basketball player. Bill Russell had passed away at the age of 88. So there you go. For those of you who watch the National Basketball Association, Bill Russell has passed away at the age of 88. And I think there was another celebrity death just recently. James passed away. Tony Dow from Leave the Beaver. He was Wally Cleaver. He passed away at the age of 77, and in earlier reports prior to his death, they said he was already dead, when in fact he wasn't. He was in hospice care, and he too had been battling cancer, and he passed away on the 26th or the 27th last week. So lots of talented, just awesome people leaving us, and it's sad. But nature is in fact running its course. And I did write something on Facebook about that. Excuse me. You know, for the longest time I was sad about my grandpa passing away, and a part of me still is sad about it. There's a lot of things that I have not gotten over. There's a lot of things that I'm trying to process. Damn it. There's a lot of things I'm trying to process. And although I'm very sad about my grandpa passing away, he's been gone for 2 months now already. And it doesn't seem like it, but there's a lot of things that I have to accept, and there's a lot of things I have to learn to let go. And nature runs its course. Basically was the crux of the Facebook post. Nature runs its course. Nature knows best. You know, we can't fight it. Whatever is going to happen is going to happen. It's inevitable. There's nothing we can do. We just got to try to live the best life we can. And I really do miss my grandpa. There's a lot of people I miss. There's a lot of aunts and uncles who've passed away over the years, and we're just trying to process and digest and cope everything that's been going on. My uncle was my grandpa's power of attorney, so he's got a lot on his shoulders, a lot of a lot of running around to do, actually. And my grandpa's property is up for sale. We're gonna get rid of that, or sell it, not get rid of it. But my Uncle Danny is trying to sell that because he was my grandpa's power of attorney, and once the property is sold, then we'll be done. It'll be over with. And I think we're gonna have an estate sale too over at my grandpa's. And it's just, it's just weird even saying that. It's just really fucking weird. Estate sale for my grandpa. I'm sorry, guys. Seasonal allergies are fucking up on me again like usual. It's really weird even just to say, an estate sale for my grandpa, because I was over there just a day or two before he passed away. And there was a visit at my grandpa's family doctor. And the last time my grandpa was in the doctor's office, his doctor had said that grandpa was fine. Everything checked out fine. He had, he had his ribs looked at or whatever because he had stumbled. He had fallen off a ladder and they're thinking he may have hit his head on cement on the way down or when he hit. And so, they checked his ribs. They said everything was fine. Grandpa was getting around. He was just, his normal self. He was doing what he always did. But they never did an MRI on his head. And even his family doctor does not understand how he died. Now, if you recall, there was no autopsy done on my grandpa. No autopsy at all. And so that leaves us in the dark on how grandpa may have potentially died. We're going to speculate ourselves into endless circles until the day we fucking die, not knowing how he actually died. Was it the result of him falling off the ladder? Did he have a pre-existing condition? Did he have something genetically wrong with his heart? We'll never know the answers to these questions because they never performed an autopsy, and that would have been the key that would have unlocked the door to the mystery of what could potentially be genetic health issues. And we'll never know that because the autopsy wasn't performed. It wasn't done. So I told Dad, I said, we're never going to know how Grandpa died. We're never going to know the cause of his death. And we're going to spend the rest of our lives spinning our tires in the mud, so to speak, and we're not going to get anywhere. We can speculate ourselves into oblivion. That's not going to make a bit of difference. It's not going to get us any closer to the truth. But I try not to think about that as much. Now, my dad had a kind of a rough day the other day because he was thinking about the past. And while I'm not going to get into too much detail here, I'm just going to say that my dad had it rough when he was growing up. And when he had kids of his own, he kind of broke that cycle. And I think that's why my dad is so devoted. Although us kids are grown men now, we're all grown up. We can take care of ourselves. We're in our 30s and 40s now. We can absolutely, most assuredly take care of ourselves. But my dad will still help his kids. And it doesn't matter how fucking old we get or how much older we will get. Dad said that he's always going to be there for his kids as long as he is physically able to be. And I think a lot of that stems from a childhood where my grandpa was never around. So, and yeah, many people probably didn't know that my grandpa was an absentee father. And I don't want to cut the man down. He's not here to defend himself, but he was just never around for my dad. He was never there for my dad or any of his kids. He was there for his stepkids, but not any of his own children. And now that grandpa's gone, that resentment has to stay pitted inside because nobody ever actually would speak up to grandpa and say, I'm really upset that you did this to us. And, we can never forgive you for what you did to us, but you're still our dad. They never had the opportunity to actually say that to my grandpa. I was never close with my grandpa. A lot of people, the way I talk about grandpa here or on Facebook, a lot of people think that my grandfather and I were close. We were never close. My grandpa and I, we were never close. In fact, I don't think I was close with any of my grandparents, to tell you the truth. I was very distant from my grandparents. I knew they existed. I knew they were around, but I was very distant. I wasn't close with my grandparents. I never had that relationship that a grandson should have with his grandparents. That's that never happened for me. So while I am sad, I am incredibly sad that my grandpa's gone. He was the patriarch of our immediate family. I guess I can say with a great deal of certitude that I am also upset with my grandfather about a lot of different things. I'm not going to go into that here, but um, there are some things, even as a grandchild, there are some things that he said and done that really hurt, and it pissed me off. Um, One year we had a Christmas party over at the Tamath Township Hall, which is over in Burt, for those of you familiar with Burt. And, it was all of us kids. And my grandpa said, the best kid will get to open the first Christmas present, the, the best kid. And, excuse me. So there was this big Christmas tree, and I'm sitting in front of the Christmas tree. I'm admiring the Christmas tree, the lights, the decorations, the garland. It was beautiful. I'm sitting in front of the Christmas tree and I'm just checking out this great big Christmas tree. All my cousins, all the other kids are just running around, goofing off, screaming, acting a fool. But kids will be kids. They've got the energy. Well, I sat there in front of the Christmas tree, admiring the tree. And out of all of us kids, guess who didn't get a present? Yeah, you're looking at him. Never got a present. And my cousin Tammy was so upset. She was so mad. She started bawling. She says, how could they do that to him? That is just so not fair. That is so wrong. How could they do that to Jared? He was like the best kid. He was the only kid who wasn't running around screaming. And my cousin Tammy was really upset about it. She was mad. And my brother Jay, he given me his present. He says, "Here you go, little brother. I'm sorry. You can have my present." I don't even remember what it was. It was so long ago. And something was brought up to Grandpa and Martha at the time, Grandma Martha, and she says, "Jared didn't get a present. How could we have missed him?" Beats me. I don't fucking know. But my kid didn't get a present. And the deal was that the best kid would get to open the first present. Well, I didn't get to open shit because somewhere along the way, somehow, I was forgotten. I don't hold that against Grandpa. That I was really too little to remember that. But I've heard stories about it over and over again by my mom and my dad, and actually by my uncle, my aunt and uncle. They told me about that, and but I don't hold that. I mean, it was just a Christmas. Maybe something happened to where maybe I was so quiet that they probably didn't know I was there. I don't know. I don't know. But either way, I don't hold that against my grandpa. That's trivial. It's worse things than just not getting a fucking Christmas present. It's far worse than that. But I'm not going to go into it here. My grandpa never like physically put his hands on me. He never hit me. He never touched me or anything like that. But I think overall, generally speaking, I just feel like grandpa was ashamed of me for something. Like I was never good enough for him. And I always wondered why. Um, because I sure loved him. And, I would always go back there to visit him. And, he appreciated the fact that I would go back there and see him. And I just always felt that I was never good enough for grandpa or any of my grandparents, but in particular, my grandpa Fuller. I always felt that I was never good enough for him. Like I was not perfect enough in his eyes for whatever reason. And he, like I said, he was never there for my dad or any of his kids, my aunt or my uncles. He was never there. And I don't know how my cousins feel towards my grandfather. I can't speak for them, and I'm not going to dare speak for them, but I can speak for me. Um, my grandpa and I were never truly close. And I always felt as though I was never good enough for my grandpa. And even in death, I mean, I just, I'm sad that he's gone, and yes, I do miss him, but there's some kind of resentment there. And my dad is really feeling the resentment because, it's grandpa, it's his dad. He's known him longer than I have. So whatever happened before I was born, I can't speak for my dad. I can't speak on behalf of my dad or my uncles or my aunt. But what I can say is that it was worse for my dad and my uncles and my aunt than it was for the grandchildren. Um, but I just never felt like I was important enough to my grandpa to be acknowledged, or just knowing that I'm his grandson. I just kind of felt like he had given me the cold shoulder my entire life. When I was sick with cancer, he was never at the hospital. He never showed up, not once. He never helped my dad with gas money. He was never there. He was there for the other grandkid, not, the Fullers. He was there for the other grandkids, his wife's kids. Oh yeah, always there for them. But when I was sick in Lansing, when I had cancer, he never showed up, not one time. He never helped my mom and dad with money for gas, or with food or anything. He was never there. So, you know, my grandpa was never, it's like I said, I never really had that close bond with any of my grandparents, and it's sad. Every grandchild should have that with their grandparents. You should be able to have those precious and dear memories that you hold close to your heart. You should have that of your grandparents. And the amazing thing is that while my own biological grandparents never really gave two shits and a fuck, not about me anyway, um, Amy, her stepmom, actually treated me more like a grandson than my actual grandparents ever did. Now, my grandma Charlene, which is my dad's mom, she let us live with them until we found our own place to live, because we were homeless for a short time. And, we would go to Reed Park, and, this was 30 years ago. This was way back before, if you're familiar with Reed Park over there, North Star, they've really cleaned it up, and it looks really, rejuvenated and state of the art, so to speak. Back then, it looked like absolute dog shit. It didn't look as great as it does now. But back then, we always used to go to Reed Park, and we had our 1987 Cavalier station wagon, and mom and dad would pile up a bunch of, food. We'd have coolers, igloo coolers, and chips and hot dogs and pop. And, Jay and I would be sitting in the cargo in the back of the station wagon. This was before they made a big deal about seat belts and shit. But we sat in the back, and Bill and Charlene, grandpa and grandma, sat in the back seat, ahead of us. And then, of course, mom was in the passenger seat. Dad drove, because my grandma Charlene never drove a car in her life. She never got her driver's license. She was too afraid to drive. But those are some memories that I have of my grandparents. And I remember they had taken me on a paper route. They used to work for the local paper. They used to deliver newspapers for the Tri-County Citizen, for those of you who are local and you're aware of the Tri-County Citizen. Well, years ago, where the Waterworks plant is, Tri-County Citizen, the newspaper office, used to actually be over by the Waterworks. In fact, I think it was at one time the Waterworks, I think, but don't quote me on that. It was in that area. It was in that general direction. Tri-County Citizen, the newspaper office, was actually over on Corunna Road, just north of Chesaning. Actually, it was still in village limits, I guess. But I remember going on a paper route with Grandpa Bill and Grandma Charlene, and the back, I was sitting in the back seat, and the newspapers, bundles of newspapers stacked from the floor to the ceiling. You couldn't see shit. And I was quiet. I was really quiet. I was always quiet as a kid. And Grandpa Bill, was driving, and Grandma Charlene was in the passenger seat, and Grandpa Bill spoke up and said, "Hey, is my grandson still back there?" In my little cherub voice, I said, "I'm still here, Grandpa." He says, "Okay, I'm just checking. You didn't get lost in the newspapers, right?" "I'm still here, Grandpa." He says, "Okay." And that's one of the memories. That's one of the memories. Because there were so many newspapers, you couldn't see me. There were so many fucking newspapers. The bundles were stacked from the floor to the ceiling and from the seat to the ceiling. And it was like, wow, you know. I'll never forget it. And that's one memory other than going to Reed Park. That's one memory that I'll always have of my grandparents. I'm always going to hold that memory near and dear to my heart because it's you're never going to get that back. You'll never get that moment back. And I'm glad that I remember that even as a child. Um, you know, I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life. Now I'm an adult and I can look back, I can reflect, and I remember it like it was yesterday. And I do miss Grandpa Bill and Grandma Charlene a lot. I miss them terribly. Um, but as for my other grandparents, now see, my Grandma Beulah, my mom's mom, she died when I was only 3 months old. So I never knew her. I don't remember her. I never knew her. I don't remember her. But she did get to hold me and she would kiss me all over my face, and she says, "You are a beautiful grandbaby." And she knew, I don't know how she knew this, but she knew that I was sick. She knew something was wrong before the cancer thing even come up. Because 3 years after she died, because she died in October of 86 and I had cancer in March of 89, she knew. She knew. I don't know how she knew, but she knew. She says, "You need to get this baby checked. Something's not right." And my mom's like, "Oh, Ma, just superstition again." There you go. Superstition kicking in. And she says, "No, honey, I'm serious. Have this baby checked. Get him taken in." Because what she did was, and I'm not lying, and I don't know how she fucking knew this, but she laid me on her lap, across her lap, and without actually touching me, she came as close as she could to me without actually touching me. She passed her hand over me, and she knew, like she just passed her hand over me without actually touching me, making contact, and she knew that something was wrong. She didn't know it was cancer, but she knew that something was wrong. And my mom called her bluff. And 3 years after my grandma died, I'm in Lansing Sparrow with a Wilms tumor. So it's really amazing how things like that pan out. It really is. And I'm still trying to figure out that mystery, how my grandma knew that I was sick before I was even sick, before they actually diagnosed me with cancer. Um, it was just incredible. It's just incredible how she could figure that out. But anyway, moving on. So my other, like my mom's dad, I was never close with him. I loved him. He was my mom's dad. I was never close with him. I was sick one day, and my dad had asked him, my grandpa Sperry, if he could just sit with me while Dad went uptown to get some medicine or whatever he needed for me, because I was throwing up and everything. I was puking, and it was nasty. And he says, "Well, I got other things to do." Like, I don't know, but he never I just wanted him to be there for me when I needed him. He was my grandpa, and he just wasn't there. Um, Now my mom's stepmother, Dorothy, she's gone as well. She would always go to the hospital, and she would ride with my mom because my mom I'm coming off treatment and everything, and my dad's at work, and Dorothy would always go to East Lansing with my mom, and so she helped my mom quite a bit when my dad was at work. So, um, but my grandpa, that one day that I just dad asked him if he could just sit here with me until he got back. He wasn't going to be gone very long. I don't know. I must have ate something before I went to sleep that night. Something didn't settle, and I was just constantly throwing up. Matter of fact, I was on this couch right here, and I had a bucket next to the couch, and I'd sit up long enough just to heave my guts, and it was nasty. Um, but he didn't stay, and I kind of get it. I mean, I don't want to be around someone who's puking, but I'm your grandson, and you could have at least been there for me when I needed you, and you weren't because you claimed that you had other more important things to do. But if that was one of the other kids, Dorothy's kids, he would have been there, Johnny on the spot. So I I have that conversation with my mom too. It's like, why wasn't I ever good enough for any of my grandparents? Like, what is it about me that was so fucking terrible that my grandparents didn't acknowledge me or they couldn't be there for me when I needed them? I never had that that grandchild grandparent relationship. I never had that. And I wanted it. I wanted to have moments with my grandparents. I wanted to, you know, sit on a grandparent's knee and have them tell me stories about the good old days. I never got that. I never had that opportunity. Um, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it had to do with my grandparents not caring too much for my mom or my mom got in an argument with the grandparents. I don't know the story behind it. And at this point, I'm liable to believe anything, but I don't just believe anything. I'm liable to take their word for it. So I can't pinpoint exactly what happened back then. But what I can say is that I never had that relationship. I never had that kind of closeness with my grandparents. And I thought maybe I was getting somewhere with Grandpa Herb, but I never did. I mean, he never acknowledged not even his own kids. And that hurts. And I know it's still eating away at my dad even to this day. Even now that he's been gone for a couple months, my grandpa, he's been gone since May. But my dad's still having a hard time dealing with that. And so I have to be here for him and I have to, just kind of comfort him and tell him, you know what, Dad, I'm sorry that things happened the way they did when you were a kid growing up. I'm sorry it was such a hard life, but you know what? Look where you are now. And I know it's easier said than done because I never had to walk a day in his shoes. But I'm trying to keep him in good spirits and I'm trying to remind him of where he is now. And while we're still grieving over Grandpa, his sudden death, and it's even worse not knowing how he died. Um, yesterday, Friday was a good day. Yesterday was a good day. Today started out a pretty good day for me too. Um, I try not to think about the bad stuff as much, but it does come back to haunt me. Every excuse me, every now and again it'll just keep coming back. Um, but I'm doing okay overall. And that's my dog Scruffy. I'm doing okay for the most part, and I'm hanging in there. That's about as good as it gets. I'm hanging in there. If I look tired, it's because I am. I don't know. My sleeping patterns are all fucked. I don't know why, but they are. Uh, my friend Kara, and I know she's either listening or watching or both. Hi, Kara. I found out that while she's cleaning her house, she listens to my Sunday videos and my daily rants and such. So, hello, Kara. Thank you for listening. And hey, you missed a spot. um, yeah, so I wanted to make sure I did a little shout out for her. I'm going to see how. We got about 15 minutes left of the show already. This hour went by very quickly. Um, I was on Facebook yesterday and I stumbled upon this page. I mean, it was just, it kind of freaked me out at first. There's a page on Facebook. It's called Tray It Forward. Tray It Forward is the name of the page. And it's about a kid named Trey who passed away as a result of cancer. He died back in 2018. He was born on July 9th, 1986. I was exactly 1 day older than him. 24 hours older than him. And prior to his cancer, he was filled out in his face. He was a pretty nice sized guy. But then they showed a picture of him when the cancer was running its course. And when you look at the picture, and this still just freaks the living fuck out of me. When you look at his picture, it looks identical, almost identical to me. It's the goatee, the red hair. I keep my hair short, the glasses, the narrow face. It was like I was looking at myself. It was absolutely just, I couldn't believe it. It's like, okay, because I was sitting there looking, I'm thinking, okay, someone photoshopped one of my pictures. No, it was a young man named Trey, and I shared it on my Facebook. I shared the image with the page, by the way, and I just could not believe what I saw. It's like, it's my doppelganger. He looks just like me. And I shared it, and even my dad freaked out. He's like, that is just too fucking weird. And again, like I said, he looked just like me. And I'm 24 hours older than him. And it just blew me away. It's like, how fucking weird is that? How weird is that? And it's still it sends shivers up my spine. But my love and support and my condolences go out to his family. And it's a shitty situation to be in. It's horrible. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But when I saw that, at first I thought someone was, had photoshopped one of my pictures that I put, a selfie or whatever. And it's like, no fucking way. This guy looks almost like me, like a spitting image of me. And I honestly thought someone was fucking with me, but that's not the case at all. It's just not the case. I don't know how to explain it, but we were, might as well say, the same age. He would be 36, just like me. He'd be 36 if he were still alive. And like I said, he had the narrow face. He had the red hair. He had the goatee like I did. He wore the same frame of glasses, I believe. And his eyebrows were kind of the same as mine. I don't know if he had the little hair in the middle, but like his bone structure in his face was identical. I just couldn't believe it. But anyway, yeah, it kind of freaked the shit out of me a little bit. So I do have a busy week ahead, as I had pointed out at the top of this video. So much to do. I got to pay bills tomorrow. I'm going to be going out to Billy's tomorrow night. I'll be there. The Monday flashback usually starts at 6:30, and I usually get there. I leave here around maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock, because the doors don't open at Billy's until 4:30. So I usually leave maybe around 3 or 3 o'clock, but considering I have to pay bills tomorrow, I'll probably, I haven't even figured out my bills yet for the month of August, which I still have to do. So when I'm done doing this, I have to get started on that right away. I have a video chat that I have to do with some friends of mine in the oncology world. And then I'm going to get started on Family Echo on the family tree. I'm going to get an account started. I'm really super excited about uh, keeping all of this information documented because it's just really important. It's really super important. I'm looking forward to it. I cannot wait. I want to get started right now. But I had the Sunday video update to do. I got so much to do, and we're down to the last 10 minutes of the show, and I doubt if Dad and Amy are going to be back here in time for the closing, for the wrap up. But I will say, I appreciate whoever's watching this because I don't even think I have a single viewer right now. Oh, I have 3 people watching. Well, thank you to the 3 people who are watching. I thank you for coming in and indulging me for this past hour. It's been great. I feel relaxed. It's been a good week. Last week was it was a really good week. I enjoyed myself, although there were a lot of familiar faces that I was hoping to see at Miracle Treat Day, and it just never happened. But I do understand it. I get it. A lot of the kids just aren't kids anymore. They've graduated high school. They've gone on to pursue careers and make some life choices. I hope it all works out for them. Sincerely, I hope. But there's a lot of people I was hoping I could have saw because I haven't seen them in 3 years, maybe longer, since before the pandemic. And the pandemic really fucked everything. And although I never, discuss politics or anything like that, I am really clusterfucked at this idea that President Biden, tested positive for the COVID not once, but now twice. And I was also clusterfucked at the idea that Anthony Fauci tested positive for the COVID. These are people. Yes, Anthony Fauci is an expert in this kind of stuff and this sort of thing. They're telling us what we need to do as citizens to slow the spread of the COVID by getting vaccinated, putting on the mask, maintaining, social distancing of 6 feet. We know how all that shit works. We just know. We've had to listen to this shit for the past 3 years, and we still hear it on occasion. But what I'm trying to understand is, how is it that these people are telling us what we need to do, and yet even the experts are still getting the fucking COVID? How? How does that happen? Because if you're telling me that I need to have this done, I need to get that done, I need to do this, I need to take actions to slow the COVID, the spread of the COVID, but yet you're still going to get the fucking COVID. Are you doing exactly what you're telling us to do? Rules for thee, but not for me? What the fuck is up with that? I wish somebody could give me an honest explanation as to how that happened. Now, I'm sorry that Dr. Fauci had the COVID. And I'm really sorry that President Biden has COVID. I'm not making light of a delicate situation. It's serious shit. I had the COVID 2 years ago on Thanksgiving Day. I've been through all that. I've been there and done that. So I'm not making a joke. I'm not making light of a delicate situation, but I'm trying to figure out exactly what the fuck is going on. Because behave yourself. So you're telling us that we have to do things, take all the proper precautions to not get the COVID, but somehow you're still testing positive. I just wish somebody could give me an honest explanation. I'm not saying that experts are immune to pandemics and diseases and any kind of pestilence that exists. I'm not saying that they're immune to it. I'm not saying that they can never get it. But we're all experiencing the same thing directly together. So if you're telling me that I need to do this and I need to maintain 6 foot social distancing, getting the vax, which I didn't get, by the way, and putting on the mask, what haven't you done to prevent from actually getting the COVID? That's all I want to know. I'm sure someone's going to email me with some stupid bullshit saying, well, how dare you say this and say that, or are you an idiot? I'll probably get some name calling thrown at me, which I don't care. Sticks and stones, but I would just like an honest explanation as to why that is. I don't know. It's kind of strange to me, but I digress. Anyway, going to check the time one more time. We are down to the last, I'd say, almost 4 minutes of the show. About 4.5, 5 minutes. But anyway, I wanted to thank you all so much for watching and for indulging me for the past hour and for kicking back and relaxing. And thank you, Kara, for listening / watching while you clean your house. That might have to be a new closing for all my Sunday video updates. Thank you, Kara. I appreciate you. No, it's all good. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. I hope you open up the first week of August with the most positive attitude and the most positive energy you can. And I hope you're taking care of each other. And if you are sick with the COVID, if you're going through the COVID, I genuinely hope you feel better soon. I hope you're able to get on the other side of this because it's really fucking awful, speaking from experience. We are still in a pandemic. It's still going on. And there are still a lot of places who are, or a lot of places that are, they're just not ready to get off the restrictions. Most places are, but there's still a few. They're not willing to let their guard down with the COVID. But anyway, have a good week. Stay productive, stay busy, help somebody in need. And I've got a busy week ahead. I don't know what else to add to that other than I got bills to pay. I'm probably going to go out and listen to some country music out at Billy's tomorrow night. Don't forget the Sunday flashback tonight on 98 KCQ. You can listen live on the website, 98fmkcq.com. The country music station is in Saginaw. But I'll probably be out at Billy's tomorrow night, and between tomorrow and Friday, I'm not sure what I've got going on. I guess I'm just going to have to play it by ear. But after I'm done with this, I have to figure out my bills. I have to do a video chat, and then I'm going to start an account with Family Echo, get that started, get that underway. So there's so much to do, and I'm ready to get busy. I'm ready to get to work, and I'm always excited to have video chats with friends and people I really love and care about the most. So anyway, guys, I think we are now on we got 2 minutes left. I want to go for the whole 2 minutes. I'll just leave my glasses on. We're going to go for the whole, for the rest of the 2 minutes. I want to make sure that I get in the full hour of the Sunday video update. I will be here next week, which is, I think, the 8th, or I'm sorry, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, the 7th. Next Sunday, August 7th. It'll be the week of Amy's birthday. I'll probably mention something about that next week. She will be the big 5-0 on August 10th. Yeah. So I don't know if Dad had anything special planned for her. I don't know. But Amy, if you're watching, I don't know if you're watching this, Amy, from Layton Corners or wherever you guys are. But yeah, next week is your birthday week. So there will be mention of that. I hope Amy will be in the Sunday video update next week. I hope she won't shy away from it, because we're probably going to talk about her birthday, the big 5-0. We're going to pick on her about that. But anyway, guys, we are approaching 4 o'clock. My name is Jared Fuller, a.k.a. the Jer Bear. I hope you have a wonderful week. Much love as always. I'll see you next week. and take care of yourselves and check on your neighbors. So much love, take care, and have a good one, guys. Later.